Hey guys, and again, the amazing Hannah Ledlie. Less of me, more of Hannah. So she's going to give us 4 pieces, and I'm looking forward to this. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you. So first of all, I'll do this short haiku series that's called Lockdown in Birmingham. My city has shrunk into a village, tarmac arteries emptied. I sit on our lawn, a prodigal son amongst the overgrown grass. Pots, pans, and applause scatter birds from their branches, a shaken snow globe. Next door neighbours are radio stations. I tune in on lonely nights. On Skype, I notice my mum wears her wedding ring on a necklace now. Thanks.
Beautiful. How was lockdown for you then? Because I'm guessing you're in uni then, weren't you, at that point then? So
that was actually it was just the year after I'd finished my undergrad, and I had such a good time in Birmingham. I literally didn't want to leave, so I stayed an extra year. Some of my friends had done a year abroad, and then they had just returned to do their final year. So they were students, and I was sort of a hanger-on. I lived with them.
Yeah.
But when lockdown was announced, they all got picked up by their parents and went home. And I decided I didn't really want to get on a train all the way back to Edinburgh in case I got infected or something. And I didn't want to make my parents come and pick me up. So I, because it was a longer drive for them. But I thought I would be okay. Yeah, just staying on my own. And yeah, I found it okay. I'm quite introverted, so I didn't mind my own company. But obviously the lockdowns kept getting extended, so I was on my own for a lot longer than I planned. And so this poem, it was sort of about that the surreal feeling of, seeing no cars on the road and
weird
being
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a weird time because, like, for us, and you want to know this, and at the time, all that happened was my dad had a heart attack just for lockdown.
Right.
Yeah, the November before, so we nearly lost him. He's still going strong now, but it took my mum out of the process because she fractured a hip running around after him. And we had the case of me and all my family running around them both in different hospitals over Christmas, got them both back out. Amanda then moved in with me after having problems of her own where she was living. And then my brother-in-law got took in hospital for a knee replacement on that month before lockdown. So we've got everybody out, just calmed down, and we're about to get married. And then he went.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was weird times indeed. So
yeah.
Did you find when you were writing at that point then, what did you write in different? It went in a different direction.
Yeah, I remember. I forgot. Oh, is it called Escapril? The sort of National Poetry Writing Month. So a lot of my friends on Facebook and like online were writing a poem every day, and somebody, I think it might have been a great poet called Honey Baxter, might have set it up, or it was somebody set up a Facebook group where we were all sharing our work and giving feedback and stuff. And so for the first few weeks of April, I wrote a poem, maybe not every day, but every second day. And I did find a great sense of community through reading other people's and sharing my own. But definitely the content of the poems, they got weirder and weirder as time went by. Initially, I was writing kind of, haiku and things that followed like structures. And then, towards the end of the month, I think that's when I wrote my very weird Club Penguin poem, which uses words and phrases from the game Club Penguin. And so I definitely my style got more surreal and absurdist, which seemed fitting given how strange that time was.
Yeah, I think it did the same for me as well, because I was finding my style changed constantly throughout lockdown. And because, obviously, as you know, I'm diabetic, so I got locked in for 6 months. I wasn't allowed out. It was horrible. But it was I was trying out all kinds of bits and pieces I hadn't done before, just to keep pushing myself. So right, yeah, no, I agree. Let's hope we don't get that again. All I'm going to say there, definitely, I don't want that again. So,
Yeah.
right, anyway, less of me, more of you. Back to you for point number 2.
Cool. This one is called Queer Speak. We can pretend we're in different rooms. If I look at the meat, and you, the knives. Who shall claim the window's crescent moon? We must keep separate beds for our eyes. Look at the apples or the pears. Stare at my shadow or my shoes. It takes effort to always be elsewhere. Every silence sounds a little like you. Sometimes 2 girls ignoring each other cancels out into a kind of vision, unspeakably greater than big brothers. We can lie together in omission. Meet me in the place where there is darkness, and we shall become the other's artist.
Great last line there. That was really great last line. That. What I do like about your pieces, Hannah, a lot, and this is a great example, is the silence in them. Like some pieces, people always are very, very good at having pieces that are very, very fast paced. That's a very slow pace, that, and I love it because it's what you've not said that's in the piece. I think stands out as well. So tell us about where this poem came from, then.
Yeah, thank you. So this one is inspired by Orwell's 1984. So there's a reference to Big Brother, and the final line, or the penultimate line, "Meet me in the place where there is darkness," is a line from the book. And yeah, this poem came out of the fact that when I was very uncomfortable about my own identity and very closeted, there were sort of parallels between the way I felt and this sort of oppression of 1984, because 1984 it features this language called newspeak, which is designed to literally restrict people's capacity to imagine certain things, because it removes words from the vocabulary, and there's the idea that if you don't have the words to describe something, then it sort of no longer exists. If you don't have the words for something, if you can't describe something, you can't think it, you can't feel it. And I suppose that for a long time I didn't have language to explain my own identity to myself. So yeah, I always felt an affinity with that book. Obviously, it's a bit dramatic to compare my very privileged experience to the lives in 1984, but I felt an affinity with it, and I wanted to draw out those connections a little bit. And definitely, yeah, I like to play with absence in my poems. And I like to read at quite a slow pace, partly because I just personally struggle to follow other people's poems when they read very fast. So when I'm reading on the page, I'll read at a very slow pace and often reread the same lines several times. So when I read aloud, I try and go slow as well, so that people
works really well.
Have time. Yeah,
works really well indeed. So it's a great piece, that. So anyway, let's move on. I'm not going to use my catchphrase this time. Back to you for piece number 3.
This is quite a silly one. It's called "The Queen Has Been Reincarnated." Somewhere, Elizabeth is doing all the things she never could or didn't have to. She is going on a roller coaster. She is starting a fight. She is trying ecstasy. She is eating pussy. She is robbing a bank. She is adopting a rat. She is ironing her own t-shirts. She is taking out a tenner. She is taking out the bins. She is taking a piss in an alley. She is being charged £95 by her landlord for leaving blue tack on a wall.
I've never seen that side of you before. That one, definitely. So it's
I
it's
realized halfway through that it's got some bad language, so I hope that's okay on
it's
your
fine.
podcast. You
It's
can
fine.
bleep them out
No,
later.
it's
Yeah.
fine. All I've got to do, and honestly, I'll tell everyone this. I've got to remember to hit the offensive button when I click on some of the
Ah,
network sites. Well,
yeah.
see, and if we don't go through, I cocked up on it. But yeah, that was brilliant. That's the first time I've seen you do a poem like that. Because your pieces kind of elements of humour in them. But that's
Mm.
it's quite flippant actually as well. That is that a style you like going into occasionally? Then is it?
Yeah, just occasionally. I think, I mean, even here, it's got an underlying seriousness to it. Because I was working on a series of poems that all deal with, like, they're all set in a world where when people die, they're reborn in with the same consciousness, but a different body. And I was just thinking, well, because the Queen had recently died, and I was thinking, yeah, in any other life, in any other world, she would have to do all these things, these everyday tasks. And there was something funny about imagining that. And yeah, I wanted to explore, like, why just through complete chance does this one lady kind of get to have all these things taken care of for her. Like, you know, she'd probably never even wear a t-shirt, but yeah, so I wanted to have poke fun at that. And also the last line about being charged by a landlord for leaving blue tack on a wall, that had just happened to me, so I wanted to get my rage out a little bit.
Well, that was my next question actually, because usually when I always find you writing poems or a short story or anything, there's got to be something of you in that character you're talking about. And I thought, I wonder if the bit about the blue tack at the end there came from personal experience there. Definitely so.
Yeah.
No, it's a great piece. I really enjoyed that. So, right, that's piece number 3, is it? All right, was that 2?
Yeah.
I lost count. It's 3, right. Okay, then. It's the big finale time then. Dun, dun, dun,
Ooh.
dun, dun. Put the pressure on you now. Over to you,
Yeah.
Hannah, for piece number 4.
This is called The Embroidery. My grandma got as far as a butterfly, 2 bluebells and a daisy. Then I guess she got bored or ran out of thread. Decades later, my mother finished the rest. A panorama of botanical inaccuracies, species belonging to separate seasons, separate soils, planted together on one beige canvas. I think we all need 2 funerals. First, the public unraveling, then a quiet project we stitch together in the evenings.
Again, that's a really interesting tone, actually. Do you like to where did that piece come from then? I thought you were
Yeah,
going to go. I thought you were going to go for longer in that piece than what you did then, actually. Well,
yeah. This is pretty much a true story. My grandma had started this big embroidery, like a huge panel with various flowers and butterflies and insects and things, but she had stopped about halfway. So after she passed away, my mum took this home and finished it off. So it was quite a lovely, like, multi-generational piece of art that we now have on our wall at home in Edinburgh.
wow.
And I kind of wanted to write about, I wanted to tell that story and how that process of finishing the embroidery was probably, also quite therapeutic in a way for my mum.
Oh God, yeah, no, it is. It definitely is. There's the memories in that piece. It's really quite. I think it's beautifully understated, and that's what I like about your work. So, is you don't lay everything on the pudding for the readers or the listeners. And
Mhm.
that's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So, was it quite a tricky piece to write that one? With it been so obviously so personal to yourself.
I think from what I can remember, this one came quite naturally just because I was just describing something that had happened in real life. I think for me, the hardest poems are ones that require me to really use my imagination and invent a whole story, a beginning, middle, and end of my own. If the story has already happened, then I can just report on that in the most truthful and interesting way that I can. So in this case, I think it flowed quite well. Yeah, quite naturally.
Yeah, it does. It feels natural. That's why. But sometimes you're doing poems that natural, they can be absolutely. And you've sworn, so I'm going to swear now. It can be actually poems so natural, it can be absolute pardon me English twats to write sometimes because you can't get it right, and you're trying to spend like ages to get that memory absolutely specific or perfect. And it never. They don't always go right to me when I do pieces like that. And that's why that's good. It's a fantastic piece, Hannah. It really, really is.
Thank you.
So that's it for today, guys and girls. I want to thank Hannah today. It's been a really great session, this. And you people want to know, we've been talking about this for about 5 months now, haven't we? Trying to get the session together.
Yeah.
And it's just life keeps getting in the way for both of us, but it's been worth it. So keep us informed, Hannah, when your collection's out, either chapbook or full, because I definitely want to read that, and I want you back on here again for it as well.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. So anyway, guys and girls, Hannah's going to hang around now because I need to talk to her off mic anyway for a few moments. But it's been a pleasure, so thank you. As Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe, and more importantly, stay over. We'll see you all next time.